from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Thursday, 2nd January 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Combi. This indeed is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Aren't you happy that you made it across to 2025? Let us stop for a moment and give God thanks. Let us stop for a moment and give God praise, because I'm telling you, it's not by might, not by power, but it's by the Spirit of the living God that we are here this morning, and we will celebrate life. We will celebrate God. We'll celebrate all that we were able to enjoy in 2024. I know 2024 might have been a difficult year for a lot of us, but indeed we must give God thanks for this new day, this new year, and the fact that we are here this morning. I'm so happy that we can be coming to you this morning, wherever you are, whether you are in your kitchen making your morning coffee, in your garden, getting yourself ready for work, or whatever you're doing this morning. It is indeed a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor to be coming to you and sharing part of your morning. We are so thankful to you, of course, for making us your number one choice for morning show here in Tobago, and of course we really truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout the entire 2024 and even into 2025. We have a beautiful show lined up for you this morning, and we do hope you could stay with us. But in the meantime, we must head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine has called on Tobago to embrace 2025 with unity and determination, outlining ambitious plans for the island's development. Key priorities include food security through initiatives like mega farming and Tobago Agribusiness Research Institute, healthcare advancements such as acquiring medical equipment and launching a cardiac care program, and educational reforms with community learning programs and scholarship. Tourism will be enhanced with beach improvements, festivals, and hotel projects, while autonomy and digitization efforts will continue. Up next, a police exercise in Lowlands, Tobago led to the arrest of a 72-year-old pensioner, a housewife, and a self-employed man from the same household. The operations uncovered 330 grams of cannabis, 19 marijuana plants, and cash amounting to TT $14,874 and US $80. The exercise was conducted by the Tobago Divisional Task Force and the K9 unit after weeks of surveillance. The raid utilized powers granted by the SOE declared on December 30th, 2024. And finally, the funeral service for the late Honorable Lisa Morris Julian and her children Josiah Julian and Zion Julian will take place today at 9 a.m. at the Santa Rosa RC Church in Arima. The trio perished in a fire that broke out at their Farfan Street Arima home on December 16, 2024. Lisa Morris Julian was the MP for Dabadi Omera and the Minister in the Ministry of Education. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And of course, Happy New Year to you as well. Biana, what was it like for you this season? What did you do? What did you get up to? Any gifts, any presents you opened for the Christmas season?
A lot of gifts. I opened a lot of gifts, but it was a more quiet one for me, I should say.
All right. Yes, and yes. Of course, you know, everybody's setting their New Year's resolutions. What plans do you have for this new year?
I think coming from 2024, I would have achieved the word consistency. So I think going forward, I would still want to be consistent.
That's right. That's right. Of course, you have to be consistent if you want to see those goals achieved. Yes. And you know, for me, I have a long list of things, well, even in 2024 that I wanted to achieve. And although I attempted them, yes, I was not able to complete most of them. You know, there are challenges that arise, yes, but they have popped up again on my 2025 to-do list and to achieve list. Yes. So look out for me. I'm coming, and I'll ensure that I get them done. And I want to encourage all of Tobago as well, all of our viewers, those of you who have set New Year's resolutions or whatever you want to call it, goals or whatever you want to achieve, to stick to it. You never can tell if you stick to it what might happen. Yes. And what are you looking forward to most for 2025 in your personal life perhaps, or even here as a team member of Tobago Updates Television?
Personally, I just want to have a more spiritual growth with the Lord.
Oh, I welcome that. I welcome that. And viewers, as Bianna said that before we came on set, we were singing some worship songs this morning, and
Yes.
Bianna was chiming in there, and I was really, really pleased to hear that. So I think you're off to a good start where that is concerned as well. Bianna,
Yes,
thank you so much for being on set, and everything that you wish for yourself for
Yes.
2025. I wish the same for you, and even double. So I do hope that you get to enjoy all that happens. Even when the challenges arise, I pray that you receive the strength to overcome them and the grit that it takes, and I do hope that your 2025 is more successful than 2024.
Yes, same to you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning. Of course, we have to celebrate, and we're going to celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. On screen and celebrating her birthday is my girl, Kenisha George, is celebrating her birthday today. And Kenisha, we say happy, happy, happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. We do hope that you have a wonderful birthday season. I pray that all that your heart desires, you are able to enjoy it today and in this new season in 2025. So happy birthday to you, a sweet lady. Next, it's Stacey Claire Otley. She also is celebrating her birthday. And Stacey, we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope that you have a wonderful birthday season. We pray that all your desires are met. And we do hope that you have a wonderful, blessed season. Do you know this face? Do you know this name? This is Trevisia Phillips. Trevisia Phillips is celebrating a birthday today. Yes, happy birthday to Trevisia. She is celebrating, and we join in the celebrations with her. We want to say that we pray God's blessings upon your life. Whatever you put your hands to do, may they prosper in this new year and in this new season of your life. Happy birthday to you, Trevi, as I know her. Happy birthday to you. And finally, we have Curleen Solomon. A belated birthday to Curleen Solomon. We pray God's blessings upon your life. We do hope you had a wonderful birthday, and we do hope that the season of celebrating continues for you, and we do hope that everything you desire in accordance to God's plan for your life, you do enjoy it. So we wish you a happy birthday as well. Happy birthday to you. And there are a few other birthdays. We do not have their photos, and I want to say happy belated birthday to Carla Victor Fraser. She celebrated her birthday on the 31st of December. Also to Shervis Atkins, yes, also celebrating there on the 31st of December. And we want to say happy birthday to you all as well. Pray God's blessings upon your life. And remember, if you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, a promotion, a retirement, whatever you are celebrating, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we join in the celebrations with you, and we remind you to put God first, to give him thanks, because he is the very reason that you are celebrating. Of course, we want to say happy new year to all of our viewers far and wide, right here in Tobago, in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, whether you are in the United States of America, the United Kingdom, whether you are in Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, wherever you are. Happy New Year to all of you, and we do pray that whatever you set your mind to do, that you are able to stick with it to the very end to see its success. So Happy New Year, and thank you so much for staying on board with us throughout all that has happened in 2024. It was a privilege bringing to you news, updates, conversations about things happening in and around Tobago, even in the Caribbean region, in the United States, things that affect and impact our lives as citizens of the nation, citizens of the globe as well. Thank you so much for staying with us. And as we continue, of course, we're going to continue bringing you those relevant discussions and conversations right here on Tobago Updates Television. Speaking of which, who are we speaking with in studio this morning? We start off the conversation by speaking with Father Jean-Paul Henry of the St. Patrick's Anglican Church. He's a priest there, and we're speaking about the importance of setting New Year's resolutions. Yes, it is very important. Why is it important? We're going to have that conversation this morning, and you're going to see why it is not just a tradition, but it's something that you should consider doing. We also speak with Mr. Gary Griffith, former police commissioner and political leader of the NTA, as we speak on the topic of the state of emergency, which we are now under, to get his perspective where that is concerned. And once you speak with Mr. Griffith, you are going to get his unbiased and unfiltered opinion on the matter. So we're going to have that conversation as well. And of course, we do hope that you could stay with us throughout it all while we take you through the conversations this morning. But we have to go for a short break, of course, before we start the conversation. And as we go, we invite you to help us Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Unwrap the magic of Christmas and have the best Christmas ever with a Christmas Wishes loan from Bethel Credit Union.
Up to 20,000 can be yours, so you can take care of all those Christmas expenses. You could even pay off all your debts and your credit card.
Come on down to where we make wishes come through, because we see you
At BCU.
Visit any of our offices today at 31 Bethlehem Road, Bethel, Tobago, or Mount Mary, Lower Scarborough, Tobago.
You can contact us at 639-8226-660-7358 or 631-1336.
Normal lending criteria apply. Think, plan, save with Bethel Credit Union. Because we see you at BCU. We see you at BCU. Come on down, get a loan or two, cause we see you this Christmas at BCU.
It's the season of unforgettable, magical moments together. A song that reminds us of how our love blossomed. The warm, comforting smell of Christmas Day that brings us together. That feeling of comfort when our loved ones see the magic happening before their eyes. This Christmas, believe in magic. Only at Standard.
Are you thinking about spending Christmas in Tobago? Well, call us at Thorns Place. We are located at the hills of Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port, with rooms starting at 200 TT. Call us now at 745-7306 or 682-8676. Follow us on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Message us on WhatsApp at Thorns Place. Your Christmas in Tobago will be even more special. Ho ho! Delta Distributors Christmas Special is here. Choose from our special meat packages at unbelievable prices. Ho ho! Perfect for your holiday feasts. Hurry! Limited stocks. Order now. 11 pounds chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks, only $500. Ho ho! Order now at deltechdistributors.com. Call or WhatsApp 359-5040 or 237-0102. Only $20 delivery or come into our main road Argyle store. Ho ho!
put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. And thank you, of course, for staying with us. And for those of you who are now joining, Happy New Year 2025. We've made it. Thank God that we made it across to 2025 safely. And saying that, we're going to start conversations this morning as we talk about what are you going to do in 2025. We speak with Jean-Paul Henry, Father Jean-Paul Henry of the St. Patrick's Anglican Church this morning as we talk about setting goals, the importance of setting New Year's resolutions. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, good morning. Happy New Year to you and to your team and also to your viewing audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, it's traditional that people across the globe, it's not just here in Tobago, but people usually set New Year's resolutions. And you know, there's different opinions in the space that people say, oh, it's just a tradition. And sometimes you set these resolutions and you start off hot and sweaty in January. And by the 4th, 5th, probably the 10th of January, you know, it becomes too much and you forget about it because sometimes we might set unrealistic resolutions. But we want to talk this morning about why is it important to set New Year's resolutions? What is the thing that makes it have that type of value and importance?
Okay. So, firstly, I will say, you know, the fact that persons engage in setting any sort of New Year's resolution, it means that they have done some introspection, some self-assessment, and they have recognized that they are not where they want to be or they are not achieving their full potential. So I won't classify it as a waste of time, but it means that, you know, we are being aware of where we are at and where we should be, and we are seeking to improve. And that is what life is about, you know, from moving from one stage to the next. So that process of setting resolutions is we want to improve where we at and become better individuals and hopefully better citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. And you know, what are some of the things that people can do? Because as I mentioned before, sometimes you set these resolutions and then before you know it, you quit.
Yes.
You become overwhelmed, it becomes burdensome, and sometimes people just put them down. And sometimes you might just have one and still it's a challenge. What are some of the things people should consider when they're setting these goals or resolutions for a new year to ensure that they can become, our word here for Tobago Updates last year, and Bianna said we're using this word again, is consistent, that they can remain consistent in doing the things they need to do to ensure their goals are achieved?
So, firstly, we have to be realistic. We have to know where we are at and what we want to achieve. I can't wake up in the morning and say, you know, this year I'm going to be a doctor, but I'm not enrolled in any form of medical training or medical school. So we have to know where we are at and the steps that we need to take to get to where we want to go. So we have to be realistic. I will also say in terms of setting goals, writing is important. Journaling, I don't do it, but you know, it is an important step because it helps us at different stages to recognize where we have gotten to, right? Let's look at finances as an example. If I want to save $10 a month, and after 6 months, I could say, well, okay, I have not saved $60, so then I have fallen short. If I've saved 60, I'm on target. If I save more, I've exceeded. You know, so we could do some jotting down and reviewing from time to time to see where we're at. Of course, as you said, you know, we have the case where sometimes we fall off before even the first month of the year is finished. And the main catalyst, I will say, behind us keeping our resolutions is having faith or putting our trust in a divine presence, whatever our faith tradition dictates. And if we put God first in everything that we do, we will find that some of the tasks we engage in, even if we think or they appear to be unachievable, it becomes easier because we are not doing it on our own, but rather we have that support may not be visible, but we have that support as we go along the process, as we move along.
That's right, because the good book says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So once you trust in him, of course, he will guide you through. For me, what about something like an accountability partner?
Yes.
Somebody who you have to say, report to, like a mentor perhaps.
Yes. Again, another important fact, because we rely on persons for so much feedback in other aspects of our lives. Why not in our self-improvement? Having someone to say, well, where have you gotten to at this point? I know you spoke about achieving this by this time. Where have you gotten to? And if we do employ someone in that sense, or engage someone in that sense, it's important that we are honest with them about where we have gotten to and why we have not gotten to the point that we set out to achieve.
And you mentioned, you touched on a few topics that we can probably focus on for resolutions, like your finances. Some people look at weight loss or managing their health. Some people look at careers, and they look at different things. And to set their goals on. And you said something earlier. It really is an assessment of where you are and where you want to be, right? And we set these goals. Let's say, for instance, we do set a realistic goal. Let's say I want to save that same $60 in 2 months. Is that a realistic goal in terms of setting a timeline to achieve your goals? Becoming a medical doctor next year and I'm not enrolled. How do you determine the time frame in which you're going to achieve specific goals?
Well, I will say, we have to really assess what the goal is. And probably we may not know what we need to achieve that goal on our own. And it comes back to where you spoke about having someone to assist you, because you may have to lean on someone else's understanding or expertise. And because if we want to say, as we go back to the finance, if we want to say we're saving $10 a month, but we only make $5, how realistic is that? Right? So, and if we make 20, it means that we probably need to engage someone with the financial acumen to then say to us, well, it might be a push because you have bills, you have this, 10 maybe, so one of the things, as you said, we cannot lean on our own understanding, and sometimes we have to engage persons who have that expertise depending on where we want to go.
And have you personally, or do you know of persons who have actually set goals or New Year's resolutions and stuck to them, and at the end of it all saw them come through?
Well, yes. So, like anybody else, I have set goals that were unrealistic. I have set goals that halfway through the year, or even before halfway through the year, I've fallen short of. But I have experience setting goals and achieving them, and it feels extremely good. It feels like a renewal in yourself that I have set out for this and I have actually achieved it. And it helps you push forward into the next year and then the next year. And there's a saying that I always hold fast to, that in order to experience true success, we have to experience failure. And it's no different from resolutions. But once we set out to it and we really have that drive, the first time you try to achieve it, you may not have the drive. Maybe like growing up in my home, our parents will sit us down, we pray, what are your New Year's resolutions? And at the time we started engaging in resolutions, we probably didn't understand what we were doing. But with time and maturity and wisdom, you're able to make sense of it all and set your own personal goals, and not just mommy and daddy saying you have to set a goal.
Right. I like how you package that in terms of one, being realistic and ensuring that what you're trying to achieve is something that can be achieved, and not just rushing to say, just pick something from the sky and say, oh, I want to do this. It really takes that measure of focus to get to where we want to be in this new year. So viewers, I want to extend to you, stick to your goals, set your goals, take your time, Journal, as priest said, Father John said, focus, journal. Have an accountability partner and take your time. There's no rush to get there. Yes, you want to set your timeline, but take your time, go through the paces and get there and see your goal achieved. He said it himself. When you achieve your goals, you feel good, and it gives you the encouragement to set goals again for the following year, see them achieved, and even encourage somebody along the way to also set their goals. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers this morning?
I would just also like to add that, the achieving of our goals, it requires a change of mindset. And I will leave us with a passage of scripture from Luke 5:37, that we cannot put new wine into old wineskins. So as we engage in seeking to achieve those resolutions that we set, we have to change our mindset in order that when we start to get something new, we can actually, when we get it, we can actually hold on to it, right? So we can't put new wine, into old wineskins.
Thank you so very much for coming this morning and sharing that with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Father Jean-Paul Henry of the St. Patrick's Anglican Church, talking this morning about setting New Year's resolutions, the importance of it, sticking with it, making it realistic, having an accountability partner, and of course, the satisfaction that comes after seeing your goals being achieved. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio. But up next, we speak with Mr. Gary Griffith. He's a former commissioner of police, and of course we're talking about the state of emergency that we are now under here in Trinidad and Tobago and his position where that is concerned. But in the meantime, we're asking you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. I am Adana Kumbi, and in the good stuff, we have some good news coming out of the Milford Road Esplanade, and we're talking about 7 new tenants at the Milford Road Esplanade. We're talking about they're joining the company there. We're talking about Wendy's homemade delicacies, a beauty salon, a cafe, a cambio, a bookstore, and Jamaican jerk, as well as Bougie Bliss. We want to say congratulations, of course, to the 7 new tenants there at the Milford Road Esplanade, and of course to the team there who is now managing. And we do hope that the relationship there is going to be a successful one. Of course, we do hope that patrons will come out, patronize, be a part, and the community spirit at the Esplanade will come alive once again. So congratulations to the 7 new tenants, and congratulations to the management and staff at the Milford Road Esplanade as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to begin conversations this morning in studio with none other than a former Commissioner of Police and political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith. This morning we're speaking about the state of emergency that Trinidad and Tobago is now under, and of course his position. And we do know that when we speak with Mr. Griffith, his position is very, very clear wherever he stands on the situation. So good morning, Mr. Griffith, and welcome to you.
Good morning to you. How are you? You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Good morning. Welcome.
Okay,
and of course,
good morning.
Happy New
Good morning.
Year. Happy New
Thanks.
Year to you. And I do hope that whatever you set out to achieve this year, you are able to see great success.
Well, thank you very much.
Right, so now we're talking about, Trinidad and Tobago. It was announced on the 30th that we are now under a state of emergency as a result of escalating crime in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, we know that you're a man with a strong opinion where policing is concerned in Trinidad and Tobago, and the safety of the citizens, having your own ideas in terms of how it should be done, seeing success, having the strategies, the conversations, the resources that are necessary, of course, to ensure that we're in a safe space. And now the SOE. You've been very, very vocal on a lot of matters, and on this one as well. So I want to talk about your position where this is concerned.
Yeah, sure. Good morning. Happy New Year to all again. Initially, as I said, my initial comment is straightforward. It is unfortunate. Unfortunately, many politicians who have very little or no qualification, training, knowledge, or experience in law enforcement, they make decisions based on the pressure that they will get from the public. And you've seen it. We've seen it in 2011 with the UNC government, and now here in 2024, the end of 2024 with the PNM, under pressure, unable to deal with crime. So you do the knee-jerk approach for a state of emergency. My take on it is that a state of emergency is not a crime-fighting tool. It never would be a crime-fighting tool. It is a knee-jerk approach. It is a plaster on a sore. It is a temporary stopgap measure. It is not going to solve the problem. Having said that, us just continue to complain and criticize the government because they have proclaimed a state of emergency via the president. What we have to do now is to try to get lemonade out of this lemon. Criticizing the PNM and stating that, but they criticized the UNC when they did it. It is all irrelevant right now. I think the focus for us now is to be very mature, to put country first, to see what can be done to ensure that this state of emergency can indeed be of some value towards assisting us with our most fundamental right, which is that of safety and security. There are certain things that need to be put in place to prevent the embarrassment that took place in 2011. I was a national security advisor. I was asked by the Prime Minister at the time. I was in Ackley in Orlando with my family. Now going on Space Mountain, the Prime Minister asked me what my view was. I said, totally not. It is totally unacceptable. It is not the way to go, because you had 9 murders in 5 days. She didn't listen to me. There was a Minister of National Security at the time. They went with it. We saw the end result, 500 persons being arrested and most of them being released, and then the taxpayers had to pay. What is required is to make sure, like for example, we have a hotline to ensure that all law-abiding citizens can actually report any type of activity to the police in a secure area without fear of reprisal, so the police can target the real perpetrators. 2, a similar hotline of online reporting to ensure that the public can report any matter of abuse of authority by the law enforcement officials, which is something that is the norm. I was one of the youngest military officers in the 1990 period during the attempted coup, and I saw that abuse of authority both by the police and the defense force. 3, the re-establishment of that National Operations Center as recommended by the Commission of Inquiry into the attempted coup, making sure there's proper collaboration between all different arms of the protective services, both in intelligence gathering and operations. And finally, to ensure a meticulous approach for each and every operation that takes place to prevent or minimize the possibility of the abuse of power. And again, going back to the concept of the state of emergency, it should not be having a roadblock in every single place. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It shows the ignorance of the hierarchy of the police service. If they go further north than Tobago, they will understand that no developed country has a roadblock for more than 15 minutes. It serves no purpose, but they are backward. They don't understand 21st century policing. Any roadblock that lasts more than 15 minutes, you have to be the dumbest criminal in the world to keep your weapon, your drugs, or whatever in a roadblock and it's 15 minutes. Criminal elements have a front person, they have a scout, a lead scout. So roadblocks in developed countries, it's short and sharp. Hit, you do the roadblock and you move on. That is how a roadblock should be held. Secondly, the use of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, I welcome that aspect, but you don't need a state of emergency for that. That is part of their role and function. We need to ensure that there is no abuse of authority. And my final point on this is that you heard the very first the Commissioner of Police making a boast that 50 persons were held. This must not be a replica of what happened in 2011. This is exactly what Stephen Williams, he did the same thing. But he and Ella Christie, for lack of training and qualification and experience in operations, they are good in Gabardine, holding a key and being up on the 6th floor doing administrative work. When it is you arrest 50 persons and you cannot turn that arrest into a charge based on improper evidence that they cannot be convicted, these same individuals are now going to sue the state and the taxpayers are going to pay. People will say, well, no, there's a clause 6 in this aspect of the state of emergency where you can't sue the state. But the attorneys are still going to do it. The attorneys are going to go to the president and they will challenge that ruling to verify if the constitutional right of my client has been infringed because you held him indefinitely for such a period of time without due process, without any proper evidence, and you just abuse your authority in the state of emergency. That is what the country will remember. I do not want the country to remember this state of emergency similar to what happened in 2011. If we do it right, we work together, there can indeed be some value.
And, talking about working together, Mr. Griffiths, the call has always been, if you see something, say something. And you mentioned those hotline numbers that citizens can call to bring in information. But there's a position that citizens take. Sometimes they might say they feel unsafe. They don't trust the system. They don't trust the police officers. They don't trust, what is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. So how do you convince a law-abiding citizen who might have some measure of evidence or who might have some information and they want to share it, but they feel as if their life might be in jeopardy if they so do? How do you get them on board? What kind of community effort do you have to make to ensure that persons, because we know that there are persons who have information who are not coming forward for fear of life?
Yeah, definitely. And that was the first obstacle I encountered as the Commissioner of Police. There was total lack of trust in the police service by the public. It was 14%. After 3 years of a lot of work, I spent most of the time doing that, transforming the police service, the image of the police service, making them accountable, measuring their performance, making sure that they'll be disciplined, suspended, even charged if it is that they were involved in wrongdoing. And by doing that lifted the public confidence and trust for the public to start believing the police is not controlled by a rogue unit that will actually be taking full control of them. Additionally, you just have to put certain specific systems to allow the average citizen who may not have easy access to some big boy in the police service to have confidence to know that they can send information without fear of reprisal. This nonsense we've gone back to, that if somebody's breaking into your home, jumping over your wall, you have to look at for a phone number of the nearest police station with a 7-digit code. That is total madness. We're not in the 1960s. You're supposed to dial 999 and immediately it's supposed to have an immediate response. And within 5 minutes, you have someone come to your home. As it pertains to the information being passed, that is why it is I did that 482, Gary, where it is that allowing persons to come forward and send the information to me directly as the Commissioner of Police. Yes, it caused hundreds and hundreds of calls for me to get every single day. My wife didn't come home last night because she left with some friends. A cat stuck up in a tree. Yes, so I got all of those. But what I got as well was critical information that assisted the law enforcement agencies to utilize that information to be able to target criminal elements. And it's information that the average citizen would not have passed on to a police station to report it, knowing fully well exactly what you said, fear of reprisal. So I made myself fully accessible to the public. In other words, I said, if you don't trust the police, trust me. And boy, did I get information. And it played a big part towards that last year with me in office, August 2020 to August 2021, 342 murders. It was the highest reduction in violent crime in 17 years. The country felt safe. We were getting information. We were targeting the perpetrators, pegging them back, actually preventing murders from taking place, intercepting vehicles with weapons about to target individuals. So through that direct link to the Commissioner of Police personally, it allowed many persons to give that information. Also, that online reporting ensure that citizens can now go online to send specific to an area without it having to go to a police station where there could be a rogue element or some police officer who's linked to the same person that you're reporting the crime to. And the online reporting, again, provided some degree, a strong degree of confidentiality. And those are the things that can and should be done. Unfortunately, old McDonald Jacob and Earl Christopher, both out of bad mind, incompetence, or just pettiness, decided to shut down and dismantle a critical element that played a big part towards allowing the citizens to pass information on. I would strongly recommend that they need to find some avenues like that, which is why I mentioned a specific hotline or online reporting to allow citizens, firstly, to forward information to the police to assist them to target the perpetrators, to make the state of emergency a success, but also an avenue to allow them to report activities of abuse of authority, both by the police and the defense force, if it takes place.
Talking about that, that was going to be my next line of questioning in terms of abuse of authority. The rogue element, just the privileges that they have in the state of emergency, which allows them to enter somebody's home, arrest them, and just do whatever is necessary, I would say, quote unquote, to conduct that that task. What are some of the actions that can be taken thereafter? Let's say, for instance, somebody busts into your home, and they arrest your entire family. They take you down, and then when investigations are done, is either the wrong family, they had no right to do that, or what are the steps that can be taken against the authorities that came into your home, did that to your family, caused trauma to your family, to your household, your grandmother, your auntie, whomever is living there? What steps and actions are taken by the TTPS on those officers who have conducted that particular type of arrest?
Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and that has been my concern. And I'll give you a perfect example of what you just said. Earl Christopher boost, she made a big boost. 58 persons arrested the first day of the state of emergency based on intelligence, and this is a word, intelligence pertaining to criminal activity. Why didn't you do that the day before the state of emergency? So it's one or two things that you didn't do it the day before, but you could do it the day after. One, either laziness or incompetence, because if you had the same amount of intelligence and evidence, you should have arrested them then. Why you have to wait until a SOE is called for you to get up now, dust your blouse, and now go ahead and do the work? No, you should have done it before. So why was it not done? So it's either you were incompetent or lazy not to get it done then. Or two, the fact is that there's not enough evidence that allowed her to have done that before the state of emergency, because the state of emergency allows you to hold persons indefinitely based on the women fancy of the law enforcement person. So you can arrest someone and you don't have enough evidence to be able to say that we know that this is going to hold. So it means that, going back to the same thing, Stephen Williams foolishly arrested over 500 persons and during the state of emergency based on intelligence. It served no purpose. It destroyed public trust and confidence in the police. It allowed many persons to be incarcerated without due process, without just cause, without evidence. There was a lot of profiling that was done, and therein lies the danger of a state of emergency. Every single thing that is done in the state of emergency could be done before the state of emergency if you have the proper evidence and intelligence. So it means that the police can very well now go ahead and be arresting persons without the evidence, and now there's a get out of jail free card by stating under clause 6 in the state of emergency that it means that persons who may be affected, who may be beaten, who may be arrested, their property damage, you cannot sue the state unless it is you have your attorney go to the president and write to the president for the president to consider. That is absolute madness. That's in my view, because what it means now is that your constitutional rights of freedom can be infringed. People can damage your property, unlawfully without any just cause, any due process, and there's nothing that you can do for it. Those things can't build public confidence and trust. I left it at 59%, that public confidence and trust, from 14%. In a year, old McDonald Jacob was able to successfully bring it down to 8%. Ulla Christopher is going to continue to do more and bring it down even lower. I am asking that the police need to do their work, but make sure that they do not abuse their authority to minimize the possibility of what took place in 2011. Additionally, as I said, the state of emergency, it will allow you to have many operations, to allow you to have many roadblocks. All of this can be done before without a state of emergency. Having excess patrols, bringing in the defense force. You can bring in all 5,000 members of the defense force before state of emergency. That is part of their role and function. So the only thing that a state of emergency can do that cannot be done without a state of emergency is allowing soldiers to have powers of arrest, which I think is very dangerous because not all of them are trained, precepted, and regimental police, so they can abuse their authority, but also holding persons indefinitely and going into homes without a warrant. Those last 2 points of holding persons indefinitely and going into homes without a warrant means that you're doing it because you don't have enough evidence to get the warrant, or you don't have enough evidence to hold the person. So it goes right back. The focus should be on intelligence-driven policing rather than giving you extra powers because you don't have the intelligence capacity to actually charge the person or to get the approval for a warrant. So given more authority because of not having enough intelligence and evidence it is a very dangerous thing. Unless, of course, when you do that, you can now gather enough evidence. But that is not how it works. That is how we would have seen in 2011. Very little, if any, success you got in successfully arresting criminal elements during the SOE. We must not do it here. But to answer your question in a nutshell, in 5 seconds, there is nothing that you can do based on Clause 6 other than if you report it, you can have your attorney write to the president. But again, this is going to be tested because the court, that this ruling is going to be tested because you are now infringing on the constitutional rights of citizens, and then you're giving them no redress other than having to go to the president.
An unfortunate situation indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with former Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith. We're talking about the state of emergency here in Trinidad and Tobago and its impact. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations, and we come back with him on the same topic. So we're asking that you stay with us. And as you stay with us, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Delta Distributors Christmas special is here. Choose from our special meat packages at unbelievable prices. Perfect for your holiday feasts. Hurry! Limited stocks. Order now. 11 pounds chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks, only $500. Order now at deltechdistributors.com. Call or WhatsApp 359-5040 or 237-0102. Only $20 delivery or come into our main road Argyle store.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With Amplia TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with Amplia's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With Amplia, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. Amplia. Do more, live more.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. I am Adana Combi, and we continue conversations this morning. We speak with Mr. Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police, and we're talking about the SOE, state of emergency that Trinidad and Tobago is now under. Of course, getting his opinion where that is concerned, and of course, the impact of the SOE, as it were. Mr. Griffith, welcome back to the show. You know, before we went to the break, we were talking about, you know, the impact. We were talking about the fact that any damage caused to your property or anything like that as it relates to operations under the SOE, I mean, there's not much you can do about it. You just have to take that and cool it, right? We want to, you know, I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that will lead to a decision for a state of emergency, because here you are, you're saying, of course, it's not necessary at this point in time. Of course, with the escalating crime, we're seeing that the crime level is increasing daily, and your position is we don't need an SOE at this point in time. What are some of the key elements that will cause a decision for an SOE?
Well, again, if it is that the state believes that they do not have the capability to secure a country, that they believe that the country has now become destabilized to the point that it is not controllable and they need to give extra powers and authority to the law enforcement agencies, then that is a decision made by the state. And sometimes they pay the political price for it. I think the UNC paid the political price for 2011. It is unfortunate, but again, unless it is you have individuals who have that capacity to brief, train, and advise the politicians who are mostly civilians, it then comes back and haunts them. For example, with an SOE, so people will call a state of emergency if it is that, you know, there's a terrorist attempt, there's a clear and present danger for an assassination attempt of a high-profile person, believe that there's an improvised explosive device that is going to be set somewhere. There's a degree where individuals are going to try to overthrow a country. Those are the things that you will call a state of emergency for. Now, granted, there are other cities, sometimes you call a SOE if there's a forest fire. But the concept that we have with a state of emergency, it involves giving the law enforcement authorities extra power. And if this doesn't work, then what? A curfew. And if that doesn't work, then what? Martial law. Instead of trying to lift it so often, what we need to do is to look at what is just required, which is just good policing, effective policing, high visibility, a rapid response, putting fear back in the criminals. I remember when I mentioned, and I keep saying it, and people say, Gary, you must not say it. I will say it. I referred to somebody, these individuals who killed that attorney, who was in church giving a sermon, leaving the church with his wife and his 2 children, and they killed him in cold blood that will scar those children for life. When I refer to that person as a cockroach, you upset with it? Well, then you are a cockroach as well, because you are aiding and abetting and condoning and sympathetic to me calling a cold-blooded killer a cockroach. A man that will rape a 12-year-old child, I call you a cockroach and you're upset. What has happened is this country must now select between good versus evil. This is not about red versus yellow versus blue. This is whether we want to save this country. And sometimes we become too sympathetic. So when I had comments again, 1 shot, 1 kill, there was a reason for that. For 3 years under my watch, not one police officer was killed in the line of duty, because I also made the comment, you touch one, you touch all. No police officers are being used as target practice by criminals. They're killing persons outside police stations. It would have never happened in 2018 or 2021, because when it is you come after us, we come in after you, and you will turn into a strainer. I made it known within the law. If you broke the law, you abused your authority, the extrajudicial killing, and you did not adhere to the laws for the use of the minimum use of force policy. That is something different. But now the police officers, they are afraid to come forward and take the fight to the criminals because they do not know if they're going to be protected by the hierarchy. That's why I will have been the first person in front in sea lots in Laventille, in any patrol, in any operation. I'll be the first person prepared to take a bullet. That is leadership by example. That is what lifted the welfare, lifted the morale, lifted the motivation of the police officers to say, if that is our leader, I intend to do the same. Earl Christopher and McDonald Jacob, who both of them, Earl Christopher, again, we criticize the PNM, but it's Kamala Prasad Bisesta that unanimously voted for Earl Christopher as Commissioner of Police. Julian John said she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. She has more cojones than all the others. So let us not PNM and UNCIs. This is about politicians making the wrong choice. We selected an individual who got 30% less than others by qualified international experts. She was totally lost. I had to send her on 2 years leave because she could not keep up with my pace. That is what is required instead of a state of emergency. You put a national security alert state, in other countries, you have green, amber, red, black. You escalate the alert state based on the threat assessment, and then it lifts the amount of operational capability of the law enforcement agencies. These are the things you can do without a state of emergency, and that is my point. So the state of emergency, again, it has been called. We need to make sure it can be effective, it can be successful. We need to rally around the state, but we need to also ensure that the police and the law enforcement agencies, we keep them in check to prevent an embarrassment and a disgrace of what took place in 2011.
Mr. Griffith, you said also that you hope that the state of emergency works, and you said, what if it doesn't work? Then what? And that's my question as well. Then what? What are the objectives, first and foremost, of the state of emergency? What are we hoping to achieve? And what if those objectives are not met? What is the next step or the next position the government can take in terms of curbing the crime situation here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, again, if crime increases, the state will be left with no choice but to move from a state of emergency to a state of emergency with a curfew. And then if that doesn't work, then what? Martial law to give the army full control? No, and that is my point. Rather than going all the way and keep escalating it to a curfew and all that, that is not what is required. I listened to Stuart Young make a comment again because of his ignorance in understanding law enforcement when they said, why don't you have a curfew in specific areas? He said, no, well, if you do that, then the criminal will just move. Total nonsense. There are specific areas in Trinidad and Tobago that will be seen as the home base, the neighborhood, the area where the gang members will house themselves, they keep their weapons, they have their meetings. You make life difficult for them in those specific areas and not everywhere else. It is similar to Jamaica. Jamaica has it's known as ZOSO, the Zone of Special Operations, where they target specific areas, have curfews, and have a state of emergency, given the authorities extra powers in those specific hotspot areas, and that by it dismantles, it makes life difficult for them. It stops the individuals from having meetings, having organizational capacity to then go outside to other parts of Jamaica. So those are the things that can and should be done. The lifting of the alert state is something else that can be done. Unfortunately, the politicians do not understand the repercussions from a state of emergency, because sometimes you have a state of emergency and then you turn into a curfew. What does that mean? It means that businesses will close. It means that it can increase cost of goods and services. It means that if businesses close, it can lead to unemployment, which is a byproduct towards inflation. All of this is a byproduct towards increased crime. So it's a domino effect. So we need to be very careful. When you call the word state of emergency, half of the people who will be coming to Trinidad and Tobago for January and February Carnival, they will now cancel their bookings. People will be reluctant to invest. It can affect the economy. Affecting the economy is a byproduct towards to increase crime. So all of these things, someone who holds the position of authority must look at it from that perspective. The UNC is the last that can actually cry and complain. In fact, they're attacking the government by stating that the state of emergency should have been in March. So it shows that if they're in government, their way of trying to deal with crime is a similar manner to what the PNM is doing now. So to the PNM and UNC, the finger pointing, it is wrong. By my personal concept, what we have to do now is forget about the concept of the state of emergency, utilize the same tools, technology, systems, policies that would have been utilized 3 years ago that peg back criminals, that made the country feel safe, that put public trust and confidence in the police service from 14 to 59%, that put crime back as the number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy. Those are the things that can be done. The formation of the re-establishment of the Special Operation Response Team, the Rapid Response Unit, the Community Comfort Patrol, the National Operations Center, the Gender-Based Violence Unit, the Social Media Monitoring Unit, GPS tracking on vehicles, body cameras, put in the minimum use of force policy with tasers, pepper spray, making sure you have a response, reigniting the 999 system. All of the things that I put in place that was shut down and dismantled, you did not need a state of emergency. You didn't need a curfew. It pegged back the criminals. The country felt safe. That is what is required. The state of emergency, irrelevant. What you need to do is to put systems in place for good policing. This can only be done through proper leadership, good accountability, good management, and measuring performance.
And what a way to end this conversation this morning, Mr. Griffith. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking with you and getting your perspective on policing and, of course, curbing crime in Trinidad and Tobago. And, of course, I do hope that the conversation will continue. I do hope that there will be collaborative efforts and, strategies that will, of course, show a decrease in crime and a good handle on the criminal elements here in Trinidad and Tobago. As you mentioned, good leadership, good strategies, having a good plan to ensure that these things can happen. Thank you so much, Mr. Griffith, and again, Happy New Year to you and all the best for 2025.
Thank you, same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Mr. Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police here on Trinidad and Tobago, of course, talking about the state of emergency, the impact, and of course, his opinion where that is concerned. We thank you so much for staying with us throughout the entire show this morning of the morning show. This is where we have to end, but of course, this is not where we end our programming. We head on over to Good Morning Tobago, known as GMT. So, of course, we invite you to stay with us, and as you stay with us, we want you to help us share the live, share the live, share the life.
Jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Good Monday morning to you, and this is our final Monday morning together for 2024. I know we all had an excellent Christmas, and perhaps like me put on a few pounds, but now is a good time as we approach the last couple of days of working days, that is, for the year 2024, for us to reflect on the road ahead. So in this episode of Auto Focus, we are going to focus on the road ahead. Where do we go from here? What we should be doing as an island, and how do we progress with this autonomy question and creating a solution? For starters, we are all pained by the fact that we have been at this since 1977, and we are still not there yet. But we can't give up on this journey. Usually good things come to those who wait, those who are willing to travel the long, winding road. And that's the road that I feel like we are on. And so where do we go from here? In 2025, it presents an opportunity firstly for the Tobago House of Assembly and the people of Tobago to enlist the support of the international community to assist us in this fight for autonomy. The reality is that Trinidad and Tobago, we are signatories to the right conventions at United Nations, particularly those that speak to the right to self-determination. And because we are signatories to those conventions, it means that we can enlist the support of the United Nations to mediate this issue going forward. We can also use international partners and rely on them to help advocate on all our behalf for this matter. Outside of the international space, we as an island perhaps should consider, and I'm saying should consider, having a non-binding referendum on the island, which can settle once and for all what islanders, what the people of Tobago actually think, what the people of Tobago actually want from these autonomy bills. That way, there are no ambiguities, no ifs no uncertainties, but we are very clear going forward that these are the things that Tobagonians actually want. Thirdly, as an island, we have to consider carefully our representation in the national parliament, because that's critical. Currently, we have 2 seats in the national parliament, and we will continue to have 2 seats in the national parliament post the upcoming general election. We have to ensure that the people we put there are strong advocates for Tobago and not for their political parties. Might I remind you that Tobago has almost always had some movement on this autonomy question when Tobago stands alone at the national parliament. In 1977, we were alone with Murray and Robinson. In 1996, we were alone with Robinson and Pamela Nicholson, to the extent that our 2 seats were required to break a deadlock at the national parliament. And I wish to propose that one of the routes forward must be for Tobagonians to select carefully 2 representatives at the national parliament who will stand alone for Tobago and not for their political parties. Because it cannot be what the political parties feel. It has to be what you, the people of Tobago, want. So we have the international community that we will solicit their assistance, and we will solicit their advocacy and their mediation. Secondly, we will ensure, or we will look at the possibility rather, of a non-binding referendum, and that's because we don't have the powers within our laws to actually have a binding referendum. So a non-binding referendum can be both a political and academic exercise that we engage the entire island in, so that we will know for sure what Tobagonians want by simply polling all adult Tobagonians. And thirdly, third option that we cannot ignore is selecting the right members of parliament who will be the strongest voices, strongest advocates for us. And I propose that we select people who will be there to represent Tobago and not just their political parties. And so as we close off 2024, I know 2025 might seem uncertain for the autonomy question, but we can't give up. We are not there yet, but I assure you we will get there someday. Now is a good time to place as one of your New Year resolution to add some more strength and vigor and fight and punch behind this autonomy battle that we have been battling since 1977. Now is a good time as you pray to God and you ask God and commit to God your plans for 2025. Let one of those plans be you are going to fight for Tobago in 2025. That's the road ahead. You will hear from me again on Friday morning as we cross over into 2025, which will be essentially the 3rd of January. So until then, all the best for the remaining hours in 2024 and best wishes for 2025.
Strong and the vibes is never. We are a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, I am so happy to cross over into 2025 with you, and this morning we are sending a Happy New Year out to you and your entire family, your entire business establishments, all your colleagues, all your friends. This morning we say Happy New Year to you. Now, you know, I am your host, Chanel Felix, and whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. A police exercise in Lowlands, Tobago led to the arrest of a 72-year-old pensioner, a housewife, and a self-employed man from the same household. The operation uncovered 330 grams of cannabis, 19 marijuana plants, and cash amounting to $14,874 TT dollars and US $80. The exercise was conducted by the Tobago Divisional Task Force West and the K9 unit after weeks of surveillance. The raid utilized power granted by the SOE declared on December 30th, 2024. Additionally, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine has called on Tobago to embrace 2025 with unity and determination, outlining ambitious plans for the island's development, key priorities including food security through innovations like the Mega Farming Initiative and the Tobago Agribusiness Research Institute, healthcare, advancements such as acquiring medical equipment and launching a cardiac care program, the educational reforms with community learning programs and scholarships. Tourism will be enhanced with beach improvements, festivals, and hotel projects, while autonomy and digitalization efforts will continue. And finally, the funeral service for the late Honorable Lisa Morris Julian and her children, Jeshai Julian and Exian Julian, will take place today at 9 a.m. at the Santa Rosa RC Church in Arima. The trio perished in a fire that broke out at their home at Farfan Street, Arima on December 16th, 2024. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now we're going to take a quick break right here, and I'll be back with you to celebrate this new year very soon.
Ho ho! Delta Distributors Christmas special is here. Choose from our special meat packages at unbelievable prices. Ho ho! Perfect for your holiday feasts. Hurry! Limited stocks. Order now. 11 pounds chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks, only $500. Ho ho! Order now at deltechdistributors.com. Call or WhatsApp 359-5040 or 237-0102. Only $20 delivery or come into our main road Argyle store. Ho ho!
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time.
This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With Amplia TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with Amplia's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With Amplia, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. Amplia. Do more, live more.
Do more, live more. 116 The Show. 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 116 Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and again, welcome back and Happy New Year to you. Now, have you been thinking about expanding your talents this year, or have you set a goal to accomplish of putting yourself out there more? Well, this might just be the opportunity for you. This morning, I'm chatting with Mr. Michael Rogers about the Bakanal Calypso tent. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
I am fine, and it's a pleasure to have you in studio. Now, there is a Calypso tent that's happening right as we jumpstart the year. We know that Carnival is coming very, very soon. Before you blink your eyes, we are already in the Carnival season.
It's right there, actually.
Right, and so we know that there is no Carnival without soca and Calypso.
Absolutely.
And so in Tobago here, there's now the Bakanal Calypso tent. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so to start it off, the Bakanal Calypso tent been around for quite some time. This is just like the beginning of a new foundation for it, because over the past years, the Bakanal tent, they have been there. Most of the members actually looking to retire, you could say, and looking for new members, new talented members. So on Saturday, the 4th of January, the Bakanal tent, as well as Verse JT Foundation, which is Verse's own personal foundation, is looking for talented members, singers, dancers, writers, musicians, where you would bring your instruments and you would play and display your talent. We will be looking for those persons on Saturday.
Excellent. And so you said, which foundation?
Verse JT Foundation. That is the Soca Monarch winner, his own foundation, where he would use that to distribute basically talent. He's currently making a band for himself, so that is under the Verse JT Foundation, and we would also be looking for members for his personal band.
Excellent. And I mean, as I said before, there are a number of persons who have set a goal to accomplish for themselves that they are going to work on their craft, work on their talent, and put themselves out there more. They know they are talented. People always
Indeed.
tell them that they are talented,
Indeed.
but for some reason they have been shy or just reluctant to really go out there and put themselves out there. So this audition allows for young, talented Tobagonians that are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and looking forward to all that the new year has to offer to enroll themselves in everything that's happening here with the Bakanal Calypso tent and the Verse JT Foundation. Now, this is happening in Roxborough. Tell us about the venue.
The venue, it will be taking place at Argyle Waterhole, which is quite a pretty decent venue for an event like that, I would say. So, that is like located after the road to go into the waterfall. So that is located the same road. You'll go, you would see us, we would welcome you and things like that.
Excellent. And what time does the event start? We see that you have here 10 a.m. until. What can persons look forward to? You indicated previously that there would be instruments provided. Talk to us about that.
Yes, there would be instruments provided. If you're not able to bring your own, there would be instruments provided by the committee members and members of the Calypso Bakanal tent. There would be instruments provided. So, I mean, it's not a problem if you're not able to bring your own instruments. We have instruments there. I urge you to come out because it's something that, you know, would bring out talented people. If you're shy, as I said before, it's okay. Verse been shy. He been shy, and if he didn't come out of his comfort zone, then he wouldn't have achieved the goal that he did.
Excellent. But this audition is not just for singers and calypsonians.
No, it's
Tell us about who should come out and audition on Saturday.
Everybody that think they are capable of, you know, showing their talent, that has that talent, that has something that we are looking for, like playing instruments, drum, guitars, singing, dancing. You know, there's other things that you are capable of doing, and I feel that, you know, every talent matter, every talent have a use. So I feel like if you have a talent, whatever it may be, you come out just to show that we can show other countries, islands, that Tobago also have talent that we could put out there and market, and, you know, things like that.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
No problem.
And we just want to remind the public that the Bakanal Calypso tent, as well as the Verse JT Foundation, is hosting the Calypso tent auditions that's going to be happening this Saturday at the Waterhole Bar at the Argyle Waterfall entrance there when you're going up to Roxborough. So they're calling on singers, calypsonians, persons who do spoken word, musicians, instrumentalists, you name it. Just come out, because there is a place for you under their foundation as well as their band and their management. So guys, we're gonna take a quick break right here, and we're gonna be back with lots more conversation this morning. See you soon.
Are you an architect or draftsman looking to upgrade your skills, or a beginner eager to master essential tools? ReCAD Labs has the solution. Our Revit Architecture Fundamental Tobago course is designed to boost your skills and confidence. Running from October 6th to November 17th, this course includes a live session on November 17th for hands-on learning. Learn from experts in our virtual classroom and stay ahead in the world of architecture. Visit recadlabs.com to enroll now and follow us on social media for updates.
Good morning, good morning, put a smile on your
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
It's the season of unforgettable, magical moments together. A song that reminds us of how our love blossomed. The warm, comforting smell of Christmas Day that brings us together. That feeling of comfort when our loved ones see the magic happening before their eyes. This Christmas, believe in magic, only at Standard.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, before we proceed with this morning's conversations and topics, I want to again welcome you into the new year with us here at Tobago Updates. Now, even as we go forth in 2025, we need you to partner with us. And in partnering with us, that requires you to continue to like, share, comment, and play your part in helping to expand Tobago Updates, as well as getting us back to where we were before we first lost our first Facebook page. That means that when you see us live, you need to share it to your Facebook status or your WhatsApp status, or place it in one of those groups that you are in, and let them know that we are live here on Tobago Updates. It's so much information that you don't want to miss. Staying in tune with Tobago Updates really keeps you in the know on everything that's happening in Tobago, whether you are here in Tobago or you are abroad. This morning, I'm going to open my phone lines, as you see the number flashing there on the screen, to allow for you to call in this morning and comment on how you feel or what do you think about the state of an emergency that has been announced here in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you feel that the government has reached its within in regards to all the strategies that has been put forward in press conference after press conference, when we hear of those back-to-back murders, and they have now resorted to taking the approach of having this state of an emergency. Do you think that the government has now thrown their hands up in the air essentially and said, okay, we have to tackle this in the hardest way possible, and by that they have decided to go with the state of an emergency? We saw in the news in 90 seconds this morning that a family has been arrested for possession of marijuana. Now, we had a 72-year-old pensioner as well as a housewife, and so they were found with it was 330 grams of cannabis, 19 marijuana plants, and cash amounts of $14,874 TT dollars and $80 US. Now, this is right here in Tobago. This happened in Lowlands. And is it that we are expecting to see more situations like this happening? And even as the police has been given more rights, I hear a lot of persons asking, what systems are in place to police the police at this time? And we hear them saying that we just have to trust that the TTPS has been well trained and they are executing their duties to the best of their ability to fight this crime situation. Now, a lot of persons felt like, okay, but this may not be relevant to Tobago, although we saw the highest rate of murders this year. But even in this situation that we're seeing here, where a house was raided in Lowlands and a number of marijuana plants as well as marijuana being found, it says to us that we here in Tobago also require that level of heavy-handed approach as we deal with crime and violence here on the island. But this morning, I particularly want to hear from you, our viewers, and for you to weigh in on the situation. And do you think that after the 15 days, this is something that the government would have seen to drastically reduce crime and then therefore extending it, or trying another approach? So this morning we want you to put your comments in the comment section, or just call the number on the screen, and that is 284-6597. Now, as a Tabagonian myself, I sit and I reflect on 2024, and for a lot of us, we were definitely not expecting the level of murders that we saw happening here on this island last year. And for sure, that's something that we do not want to continue. But even as we play our role individually and we have that collective responsibility, it means that sometimes in situations like these, as the old people say, Peter pays for Paul and Paul ends up paying for all. And that might mean some innocent persons having their house run into and ransacked. But how do we strike that balance between persons feeling like, okay, this is a situation where I have been targeted for a long time, and now that the TTPS has been given this extra responsibility, they are using it to take advantage and further certain agendas, and the police just doing their job to help reduce the number of crime and murders on the island? How do we strike that balance in understanding that even when we see them and we may be uncomfortable with them as they execute their duties, that all in all, it is to the benefit of the whole, although it might not feel like it in the moment. But again, I want you guys to know that the phone lines are open and the number is 284-6597. And this morning we are open to conversation. We are chatting with you, so you have the ability to call in and be a part of the show with me this morning as we talk about the state of an emergency that we are currently in here in Trinidad and Tobago. But before we continue with those conversations, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to see you soon right after this.
Delta Distributors Christmas special is here. Choose from our special meat packages at unbelievable prices. Perfect for your holiday feasts. Hurry! Limited stocks. Order now. 11 pounds chicken, 5 pounds pork, 5 pounds turkey, 1 picnic ham, 1 liter pear jacks, only $500. Order now at deltechdistributors.com. Call or WhatsApp 359-5040 or 237-0102. Only $20 delivery or come into our main road Argyle store.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With Amplia TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with Amplia's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With Amplia, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. Amplia. Do more, live more.
Unwrap the magic of Christmas and have the best Christmas ever with a Christmas wishes loan from Bethel Credit Union.
Up to 20,000 can be yours, so you can take care of all those Christmas expenses. You could even pay off all your debts and your credit card.
Come on down to where we make wishes come through, because we see you
at BCU.
Visit any of our offices today at 31 Bethlehem Road, Bethel, Tobago, or Mount Mary, Lower Scarborough, Tobago.
You can contact us at 639-8226-660-7358 or 631-1336.
Normal lending criteria apply. Think, plan, save with Bethel Credit Union. Because we see you at BCU. We see you at BCU. Come on down, get a loan or two, cause we see you this Christmas at BCU.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. This morning we have been chatting about the state of an emergency that has been imposed on us here in Trinidad and Tobago. And before I left off for the break, I asked a pertinent question. Do you think that this state of an emergency would be effective in combating crime? And do you think after the 15 days if this state of an emergency would be extended or stopped to reproduce a new strategy. Now, for some of you who are still a bit lost on this state of an emergency and when it was called on Monday. It was very sudden. It was not something that anyone was expecting. And this was as a result of extreme gang violence that has been happening in Trinidad over the weekend of the 27th of December. And so it was reported that I believe 9 men were killed over that weekend as a result of gang warfare. This was triggered, I believe, by the death of a gang leader who was shot right outside of the Besson Street police station. And this level of blatant gun violence has been identified to be nothing but the back and forth tit for tat that is happening in Trinidad because of intense gang rivalry. Now, is this something that can possibly spill over into Tobago? We do not know. But the thing is, for years we have seen Tobago become a safe haven and a hideout spot for many criminals. And in a situation like this, is it possible that, knowing the level of gang violence that's happening in Trinidad, are some of the criminals making a run for it and coming to Tobago? And if so, what is in place here on the island to ensure that our borders are protected and proper policies and monitoring is in place for persons to feel comfortable enough to come forward to the TTPS and even report if they see someone who they deem to be a stranger in their area or who looks a bit suspicious. So this morning you have the ability to really be a part of the conversation. We want to hear from you. Do you think that this is going to be effective? Now, this is a drastic step. It's a drastic measure, and it says that the level of seriousness of this situation in regards to the gang violence in Trinidad and Tobago has truly gotten out of hand. We saw earlier in 2024 where we had Christmas lists coming to Trinidad and Tobago and truly exposing the underbelly of crime and criminality and gang warfare in the country. And what happened to him? We saw that he was arrested. And when we look at the content that he posted online, we now have a greater level of understanding of what really happens at the gang level in Trinidad. Prior to Christmas list being in Trinidad, for many of us, we just heard of the gang violence, but we did not understand to what extent. And we didn't understand that in some cases it was just a step that separated different rivaling gangs. In some cases it was just a street. So imagine every day we have heard of persons being afraid to go home and to leave their homes just because of the gang violence that takes place in certain areas in Trinidad, such as Belmont, Beetham, and a number of other places. But when we look at how Christmas list was dealt with, and now having a state of emergency that is directly tied to the gang warfare that he exposed, how do we process him being arrested and treated in the way that he was treated when he truly exposed some things that maybe if dealt with in the appropriate manner during that time, maybe if such measures were taken during that time when that type of information was being exposed, as opposed to placing the blame on one individual who, in his journalistic endeavors, seek to expose not only the criminal elements, but some of the philosophies, the ideas, the history, and the day-to-day life of these criminals. And how does it impact their families, members of their communities? What was or is the mindset of a number of these criminals. For many of them, I don't think that they even believe in crossing over to the new year because they truly do not know what tomorrow holds. How do we protect our children from this level of crime and criminality and gang warfare? When we live in a place, specifically here on the island of Tobago, where we have always deemed to be the greatest little island on the planet or slice of paradise. What happens when the criminal elements begin to creep into paradise? How do we, in other words, like Donald Trump would have said, build a wall? Maybe not a physical wall, but a wall surrounding our children, our home, or families, or institutions. So I am guessing that you guys do not have anything to add to this conversation because I have not received any calls from any of you just as yet. But this conversation is such an important one, and it is pivotal for us to continue to ask questions where the state of an emergency is concerned. I mean, we are hoping that the TTPS would do the right thing in that they would not abuse their power and authority during this time, because we know of situations in the past where they were held to task after it was revealed that they had indeed abused their power during a state of an emergency. So we implore citizens to also understand what their rights are during this time, to comply and then complain. All right. So we are going to do our best to ensure that we take collective responsibility for helping to fight against crime this year. Guys, I am going to take a quick break right here, and I'm going to return very soon as we wrap up our discussions this morning. I hope to see you again. Stay with us.
Tobago updates. Good morning,
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Are you an architect or draftsman looking to upgrade your skills, or a beginner eager to master essential tools? ReCAD Labs has the solution. Our Revit Architecture Fundamental Tobago course is designed to boost your skills and confidence. Running from October 6th to November 17th, this course includes a live session on November 17th for hands-on learning. Learn from experts in our virtual classroom and stay ahead in the world of architecture. Visit recadlabs.com to enroll now and follow us on social media for updates.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Na 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new.
Thank you guys so much for staying tuned and staying with us. Again, I am Chanel Felix and I am your host here on Good Morning Tobago. Now, we have been talking about the state of emergency that Trinidad and Tobago is now under. And I have just received some information that there was another murder that took place yesterday where an attorney was murdered. So there was an attorney murdered after giving a sermon at that All Years into New Year night service, and this was attorney Randall Hector. So he delivered a New Year Eve sermon to the congregation at the Stanmore Avenue Seventh-day Adventist Church in Port of Spain. And as he was walking out of the church to go to his car, someone walks up to him and shoots him. And this is in the middle of us being in a state of an emergency. Now, he was a special prosecutor, so we're not sure what type of case he has been working on and why it was so important to eliminate him, even if that meant right outside of the church. But when we look at the string of murders that are happening, something is changing, something is different. And what is different is the level of blatancy. When we look at how these criminals are now operating in broad daylight. I mean, it was New Year Eve, so it was actually at night, but in public spaces and in highly populated areas. So it means that there is a complete, total disregard for human life. And there was once a time when criminals had some level of principle. They had some level of etiquette. They had some core principles and beliefs about themselves as criminals, and they felt like, at least we don't murder women. At least we don't murder children. And I shudder to think that no principles exist where crime and criminality is concerned in Trinidad and Tobago anymore. And so when you hear a person saying, I'm literally scared and I want to leave Trinidad and Tobago, how does one do the job of convincing them to stay? How can I, as a young person, look at my, fellow colleagues and say to them, let us stay here in Tobago, let's stay in Trinidad and Tobago and contribute and make a difference and use the education that we have received to make this island the greatest little island on the planet, when there is a complete disregard for human life. And Tobago is no longer safe from that. So this morning, you still have the opportunity, as we round up our discussion, to call in and let your voice be heard. The number is on the screen. It's 284-657-97. That's 284-6597. That's our number here at Tobago Updates. You can call us and be a part of this discussion. This morning, we are happy that you have decided to stick with us and join us and have the conversations and have the tough talk and have the tough conversations. But one thing that I would like to hear is I heard from the Chief Secretary on this state of an emergency. I would like to hear from all Tobago MPs. I mean, we are in that election season. I don't know, the bell has not rung as yet, but we know that elections are around the corner. And even us as the voting population, we have a duty to make it known to our representatives and those that want to put themselves up there to serve what we require of them. As we set out our New Year agenda personally, having our New Year's resolution, we have a resolution for you as well. And I have a caller online. Good morning and welcome.
And good morning, Chanel. Enjoying your show. I heard you talk about Christmas lists, which you did a very important thing, which was to expose the gang dens and so forth in Trinidad. Christmas list from Canada, a visitor to our place. But we also have organizations here in Tobago, homegrown organizations like Tobago Civil Net, that put a lot of effort into a 4-week series, brought some very dynamic speakers to our space, and we concluded that series. But we're hearing nothing about that from our media. We did a media release, and the media, this Tobago homegrown media, seems not to be interested in something of that nature. Yet a person like Christmas List from abroad gets our attention. What is it about our media here in Tobago that seems to be politically influenced to ignore the efforts of an organization like CivilNet? As one journalist on a show called Vox Populi said, we had the nerve to go to the THA for funding for some contract, which was a lie, while at the same time promoting a THA performance survey. So he directly tied our efforts to get funding from the THA to promote this crime-fighting effort to the fact that we promoted a THA performance survey. I think that this is something that the media needs to look into, whether or not media houses are being politically influenced to suppress the efforts of NGOs, organizations grown right here in Tobago.
Thank you so much for your call, Rodney. Thank you for contributing to the discussion in this way. But I do remember having several conversations here on Tobago Updates to promote those discussions and even being a part of it myself. But I do understand that more conversation is needed, specifically here on Tobago Updates. But I know for a fact that we had a number of communication as well as interviews, even on my morning show with Miss Karen and others, to promote the work that CivilNet has been doing in the community to combat crime and criminality through education and through raising awareness with those important discussions and having those persons being at the ground level to talk not only to the politicians and the policy makers, but to also have the conversation with the persons on the ground. And as it relates to Vox Populi, that individual is no longer connected to Tobago Updates, and the views of him on an individual level during his shows are not reflective of the views of Tobago Updates. And if you do have more sessions or more material that you want to share here on Tobago Updates, we are open to accept that, and you can reach out to us at tobagoupdates@gmail.com and send us the correspondences, and you would be here to chat about all that you have been doing and that you continue to do. But unfortunately, we have to end this morning's discussion because we are out of time. But again, thank you for your engagement with the conversation, and thank you for putting that out there. But as it relates to Christmas List did something. He exposed the underbelly of gang violence, not just from an external perspective, but we heard perspectives from the former police commissioner, Gary Griffith. We heard perspective from Sergeant Alexander, a man deeply entrenched in the service, as well as a number of resistance groups. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we were able to identify their locations, as well as understand some of the mindsets and philosophies behind why these criminals continue to pledge their allegiance to these groups and why they feel like there's no way out. But again, we want to thank you so much for being a part of our discussion this morning. We want to thank you for your likes, your shares, and comments, and all that you have been doing to ensure that Tobago Updates remains the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, a happy new year to you. I hope that you were able to bring in the new year in fine style, and that you continue on with your new year resolution and to be more intentional. Remember that success is never accidental, but always intentional. So we have to take those intentional steps to plan and to execute and to remain consistent in doing the things that we said that we will do. So see you in the gym. All right? All right. Have a great day later, guys.
We are melanated one.